Finally, yesterday night I arrived in Cartagena, and right now I'm walking to the old city, and I'm kind of angry with myself. Like I'm not very angry with myself because that's kind of not fully my fault. It's like my body refusing to work because like I got a flu, and yesterday morning I was feeling so bad that I missed my first flight, but I was like, okay, I'm feeling so bad, I'm not going to be forcing myself to hurry on my first flight since I didn't have any specific plans for yesterday evening. So I was like, okay, I will just arrive in Cartagena later, and I bought another flight on the same day because it was the same price. And I spent some extra money, but it wasn't like a lot because that's like there's a lot of flights from Bogota to Cartagena. So I arrived in Cartagena quite late, and then after I arrived I still had a lot of, like, not a lot of things to do, but I still have some things to do, and I needed to take a shower and like also wash my hair, and like, and then I finally went to sleep, and now I have just one day for Cartagena, which I had one day for Cartagena, not just, you know, not just because of this, because I was late, but in general I had just today for Cartagena because I don't have I have kind of a tight schedule, and I don't like that I have just one day on Cartagena, but I cannot really do anything about it. I will just come back in the future. I'm pretty sure I will come back in the future. I would definitely come back to Bogota and probably as well. Something that I would suggest if you are going to Latin America, if you don't know this already, don't like kind of, if you check the weather forecast, look at every single city that you're going to. Do not like look at one city and think, oh, that's what the weather is like in Colombia, for example, because like the climate here is like very diverse within one country, and like especially those countries, they are very big, they look small on the map because like whoever created the map was obviously from the global north, and this person made all the countries on the northern hemisphere look much bigger than they are in comparison with the countries from the global south. And the countries in the global south, if you actually, not global south, but the southern hemisphere, because it's not the same as global south, and many countries from global south are in the northern hemisphere, just on the southern side kind of. If you actually see the actual size, those countries are very big. And what I mean is like South American countries are very big. They are much bigger than you expect them to be. Like they look small. If you look at the map of the world, they do not look very big, but they are. Colombia is very big. Peru is very big. Like even countries that like on South America map, they do not look big. They are much bigger because they are, for example, next to Brazil, which is giant. So those countries, even within one country, they have very diverse climate, and there's a lot of mountains in South America, so obviously mountains affect the climate a lot. Sometimes on one side of the mountains weather can be completely different than on the other side because the wind stops on the mountains. There's a lot of microclimates there. So for example, Cartagena is very hot and Bogota is very cold. And like a girl in my hostel, unfortunately, she didn't know that in South America there can be like very cold places, so she didn't take like any warm clothes, and I feel so bad for her because Bogota is so cold. So fortunately I was lucky. I looked up weather in different cities and I took a lot of warm clothes myself. Maybe not a lot, but I took some warm clothes because I knew that in some places it will be cold. But still, I have a flu anyway, so maybe that didn't even help me. Maybe just flu is my destiny. Anytime I travel, I get a flu. I am destined for flu. I hope it's just flu because I'm really feeling very bad. Like my muscles are hurting so much. Like I am not even coughing that much, but my muscles, they hurt so much. I don't know if I ever had this much muscle pain as the morning and yesterday evening. I couldn't move. It was so painful. I was just looking for different positions to make my pain less bad, and I took some painkillers, and now I took another painkiller, and I already ran out of painkillers. I will need to look for painkillers here because like my muscle pain is so bad. So I'm like in the beginning of Gethsemane, and I don't know yet if I will go there straight to Gethsemane or to Old City, because they are kind of like neighboring each other. By the way, I like that it's called Gethsemane because there's Gethsemane in Palestine, and I'm pretty sure this one is called after that one, because I think that's the olive grove with, you know, Jesus and crucifixion, and yeah, in Christianity. I think so. I'm pretty sure. I am not 100% sure, but I'm 100% sure that there's Gethsemane in Palestine, in Jerusalem. Yeah, I'm entering this part of the city finally. I'm not feeling very good today, honestly. But it's like, yeah, now I have a stomach ache that I already dealt with, like, oh, I hope I dealt with this. I hope my back pain is not going back. So Gethsemane is known for like those very bright, colorful houses, like those ones. I really love houses like this, honestly. I really think like, for some reason, because I'm fortunate and not unfortunate enough to live in Europe all my life. Europeans, for some reason, they think that the only European cities are beautiful, or at least they are the most beautiful on earth, and I think they are extremely overrated. And for example, Latin American cities and Asian cities are very underrated, and African cities as well. And you know, in Europe you don't have such colorful, beautiful streets. Like, it's not very common. They are all boring and all look the same. Okay, first I'm going to get some money. I think it's like more convenient for me. But they are like not separated by like any streets which are like difficult to cross, because like the city is not like very pedestrian friendly, like a lot of cities, especially like southern cities like Latin America or Arab cities. They are, a lot of them, they are not very very pedestrian friendly, because not a lot of people really walk that much. People use scooters more often or cars, so they are less like friendly for pedestrians. But it's okay. Here more like in the old city area, so here of course you can walk and there's no problem with that. But in like newer areas there's a lot of cars, so it's not that easy, not that many pavements. I am feeling so awkward because my Spanish is very broken. I just started learning Spanish 1 month ago, just before this trip, because I was like, if I, you know, I always thought that it's kind of a useful language, and I wanted to learn it because of Che Guevara and Fidel Castro, honestly. I wanted to be able to listen to many hours of Fidel Castro speaking and understand everything, and that's the reason I wanted to learn Spanish. And I do not really feel passion for the language itself. I do not have passion for languages in general, but like Spanish specifically doesn't make me like excited. It's not like, for example, Korean does make me excited. Spanish not so much. But since I was like, I had this like in the back of my head, I would kind of like want to learn it. So like 1 month ago I started learning, and because I've been learning since a month. My Spanish is very broken. It's very broken. I understand a lot of things that people say, but then when I have to respond, my brain doesn't brain. My brain wants to speak other language and starts mixing Spanish with other languages. Why? I don't know, my brain does this. It's very annoying. And not only with Spanish, but especially with Spanish, because it's new to me. And especially my brain mixes Spanish with French so much. Because from those languages that I was learning, French is the most similar, and I was kind of learning them side by side, French and Spanish. But I've been learning French like longer, and French I speak much better than Spanish. When I was learning Spanish, actually a lot of words I memorized because I was like, oh, it's just like in French but a bit different, so it was easy for me to memorize the words. But then when I have to speak, I start speaking French. Oh, why? Not only French, also other languages, which is like, why? If anybody has a tip how to separate languages, I would be very grateful, because I always have problem with mixing languages, but especially here with Spanish, because it's very new for me and I'm not used to speaking Spanish for some reason. I want to say something in a completely different language anytime I suddenly have to speak. Like, if I have like 5 minutes to think before I start speaking, maybe I was speaking Spanish, but like automatically I start mixing Spanish with other languages. Gethsemane is known for this paintings on the walls. It's famous for that. Honestly, it's a very... Oh my god, this bird is so cute. I love Aras. Ara birds are like... I love them. There's like kind of backstory to this, which is like weird. It's very weird. It's like why I love Ara birds comes from some joke made about me when I was a child. So here's one of the paintings. A lot of paintings on the walls. Like, it's very pretty. As I said, those cities outside of Europe, they're so underrated. Even in Canada, I saw some really pretty cities. Like, for example, in Canada, when I was in Quebec City, one of the most beautiful cities I have ever seen. I love Quebec City so much. I really want to go back to Quebec City. Oh my god, this lady is so pretty. And I love her dress. I love Latino churches. They are so beautiful. I think they are one of the most beautiful churches, honestly. I'm sad that I like them because I know they were built by Spanish, and I know that they were using Christianity like very badly to really persecute people in those areas, in basically all South America and like Spain in general. A lot of religious persecution at some point. Anyway, I feel bad liking those churches because I feel like I like blood things, you know. And I feel this way about a lot of like colonial things. I know people can say I'm petty or something, but I really don't like colonialism. Like, that's one of the things that really triggers me, and I really hate them. People think that I'm oversensitive, but I kind of think that I have this reaction because I actually think about what influence on Earth it actually had, and most of people just don't think about this, and that's why they don't have like intense reaction, because if they read about this and if they read about the things that were happening and are happening right now, they would hate it just the way I do. So I'm just being kind of feral or maybe petty, I don't know. But if you're a left-wing person, a lot of us are kind of what other people would say petty, because we pay attention to things. So in my circle of friends, it's like I'm not the pettiest person, I would say. And honestly, I do not think that's a bad thing. Sometimes it's a bit bad because we go too far and we start fighting with people over everything, when sometimes it's not intentional, that they said something. Sometimes it's not intentional. People can be ignorant. It's like, we sometimes forget about this. People can be really ignorant, but they may not have bad intentions, and sometimes we go too far and we fight with each other. But it's not a bad thing in general that we pay attention to details like ethical stuff. Anyway, I'm ranting off topic, and I'm going like north of Gethsemane to the old city. I'm on my way. And I can see this is a very touristy area. Actually, Cartagena has like opinion of the most beautiful city in Colombia. I haven't seen all cities in Colombia, so I cannot say if it's the most beautiful, and also I think it's difficult to compare beauties of different cities, because cities can be so different. They are so difficult to compare. Like, you're comparing apples to oranges literally. When people ask me, which city do you like the most? It's like, it's very difficult to say, honestly. Like, and people can have really complicated relationships with cities. Like, very much love-hate relationships sometimes. There's places that I have like, there's one city that I was thinking about yesterday, because like somebody I know is in this city right now and was posting stories from the city, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so many things about that city that I cannot even express that. I have like the most love-hate relationship, most intense love-hate relationship that you can have with a city, probably, with that city. So like on one hand I kind of like hate it. On the other hand, like I literally see that city over and over and over and over and over and over in my nightmares. And on the other hand, I miss it so much when I'm not there. And I feel a need to go back there, to that city of my nightmares, literally. Like, was the worst of my nightmares are located there. But I'm talking off topic once again about some city that is not even like in South America, it's in Asia. So, yeah. This feels so strange when I just came from Bogota. The climate is so different. I feel like in a different country. I am already in the walled city. Honestly, there's no like a big difference in architecture when it comes to walled city and Gethsemane. They're pretty alike. I mean, Gethsemane has those paintings on walls. But here I also see a painting on the wall. Maybe they're small in Gethsemane. This house, which is like blue and pink, is so cute. You can see very clearly that this city is much more touristic than Bogota, for example, because there's a lot of people like catering to tourists, like very obviously, like a lot. And in Bogota, there's obviously there's still some street vendors and stuff like this, but way less. And you can clearly see like this is a touristic city, and there's a lot of souvenir shops, a lot of like deals, for example, like free magnets for like one, or like whatever, free magnets for the price of 2, or 10 magnets for the price of 9, or whatever. So you clearly can see that this is like way more touristic city. The thing that I like about Cartagena is that it's easier to move around because Bogota is very big. I think I'm pretty much like somewhere in the center of walled city and like in the center of like touristic area of the city, because that's the most like touristic area where people come because it's old. And wow, the buildings are amazing.